Hello, mate. How are we doing?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. A bit of tummy problems, but yeah.
Fair enough, mate. Yeah, we all get those. Yeah, I mean, it's been another good weekend in the football for us.
Oh, definitely.
It was nice to stick it to Villa, I have to say. After, I know it's been years since they stuck that sign up, but the old sob on the Tyne flag that they had hanging up still gets on my tits to this day. So, you know, it's nice that we managed to get one over on them, and 4-0 as well. That's some result. Miggy Almer on again, managing to add to his tally. That's what, 6 in 6 now for him.
Yep, 6 in 6, 7 for the season.
It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, I was reading something somewhere the other day, and he's outscoring like Salah and Messi and all of these other elite players. It's incredible the turnaround that he's had at the club.
I called it at the start of the season. I said we're going to see the best of Miggy.
You did, mate.
And who predicted that we would concede?
Well, you know, I did get the number of goals in the game right. There were 4 goals, and technically, you know, maybe, yeah. But to be fair, they were shocking. They were actually shocking. And after a 4-0 win, I expected them to come into this game and, you know, make it a game rather than just being the way they were. They just rolled over. And Ashley Young appealing the fact that a penalty was given against him, that was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. The man's arm was... Oh, it was humorous. But that first half, we were terrible. You know, we had chances to go ahead and we didn't take them. But, yeah, that first half and all the time wasting from Villa, we get bollocks for it from other clubs, but that was something else.
Yeah, first half was mainly... It was just stop-start all the way through. That first half, isn't it? I was so glad to see that first half over, and lucky that we scored and managed to go in at half-time 1-0 up. But then as soon as we came out in the second half, we was like, do you know what? We're not having this stop-start game no more. We're going at you. And the goals, they could just 2, 3, 4 straight on the bounce. And what a peach from Miggy.
Oh, mate, it's getting ridiculous now. When he scores, it's always a worldie. I mean, why do we even need to have a goal of the month competition? Just do a highlight reel of Miggy Almiron's goals. It's ridiculous. The boy's got some quality, and it's starting to show. It's madness.
But we're getting a goal of the month every month so far this week.
Yeah. Well, what I loved as well is obviously, I don't know if you've seen it, but Eddie Howe's up for Manager of the Month. Miggy, Bruno and Trippier are up for Player of the Month, and Bruno put out this really, really nice message on Twitter saying, you know, look, I'm proud to be part of the candidates for Player of the Month again, but I really want you to vote for Miggy because, you know, Miggy's living his dream. And to me, that just shows the unity that's in the squad, that they're all behind each other, and it's so nice to see.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I hope Eddie doesn't get the Manager of the Month, because we all know about the Manager of the Month curse. When a manager gets that Manager of the Month, form goes to shite.
Well, luckily, we've only got, 2 Premier League games left. So if he does get it, hopefully it's only for the one game then against Chelsea at home. But again, Chelsea got smashed at Brighton. So I don't see us even losing that game or conceding in that game.
How's jumping ship now, Potter?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair to him, any of us would have done the same thing if Chelsea came calling when you're at Brighton. And that's no offence to Brighton. Brighton are a great club, but Chelsea are in Champions League, so it's obviously a step up. But he should have seen out the season if he was going to do it, though.
In my view, I only see Potter as one of those mid-table managers. I can't see him at the top of the league type manager. I don't think he's got the right type of skill to be a top manager. He's more of a mid-table manager. So yeah. I think he's going to foul at Chelsea.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't see it, especially losing to Brighton. Come on, 4-1 to Brighton.
That was insane. 2 own goals as well, and they were terrible own goals to concede. That Trevor Chalobah, he started his career at the start of his career. He looked like he could potentially be something, but he looks like he's just going to be like his brother. Someone that they'll sell to Fulham or somebody like that, and he'll play second fiddle to somebody. He's not got that quality, to be honest. But yeah, Chelsea are on the way out. We're on the way in. It's beautiful to see, especially with Liverpool losing again. That made my weekend.
There's talk of them not even going to be making Champions League at the end of the season.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Well, there was a thing that I read earlier today where obviously they've been chasing Jude Bellingham for ages, and FSG have put money aside for him. Apparently, they put aside something like 86 million for the transfer. You're thinking that's not even going to buy you half of Jude Bellingham. You need at least over 100 million to get a kid his age of his talent. The kid's been captaining a Borussia Dortmund side in Champions League, for fuck's sake. How are you going to get him for that much money? It's crazy.
No. Yeah, damn. I think Dortmund even said they want about 120 minimum for him.
I can't blame them. But yeah,
unless they're going for like 80 odd mil for his brother who's at Birmingham.
Possibly. I mean, he's looking like he could be a little player as well, Joby Bellingham. But yes, it's a weird one at the minute. But obviously, so great result against Villa. Tyrone Mings in front of Gareth Southgate, showing why he should not be on that plane. Callum Wilson showing why he should be. It was a great performance from him. He was rattling those defenders. I mean, him and Mings came together a fair few times, and you could see he was getting under Tyrone Mings' skin, and it was beautiful to see, to be honest.
Definitely. I think I even heard the commentators say at least 3 times throughout that match that Wilson needs to be on that plane.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I've heard anyone say anything different since that game. Obviously, when he put the penalty in, you could see Southgate on the camera smiling and, clapping, well done, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, everyone since, from Simon Jordan to Richard Keys, people that aren't usually associated with saying nice things of us, they've all been saying the same thing. Wilson is the best striker after Harry Kane, and the statistics prove it. He's got the least minutes per goal, and from the appearances that he's made, despite being injured this season at the start, he's done really well. That's just highlighted by our upturn in games since the start of the month. I mean, in October, it's 6 games, 16 goals, and we've only conceded 3, which is mental. It is mental. How was our defence this good?
We've got the best defence in the league so far as it is now.
Yeah, we've got most clean sheets as well, don't we?
Yeah, Pope. Look at the Burnley side conceding goals. I'm iffy to begin with because we've had 2 Burnley players and both have been absolute dog shit in Hendrick and Wood. I said from the start, this guy's going to be the hat trick. He's going to be the hat trick of absolutely poor players we're getting from Burnley. But how wrong was I? This guy can't stop keeping clean sheets.
Well, I think the one of the lovely stats that I heard during the game at the weekend was he's only made 3 saves in 2 games because that's all he's needed to make. Yeah, that for me is just showing how good Sven Botman and Fabian Schär and the lads sat in front of him are. And it's amazing from a coach that everyone said didn't know how to put a team out to defend. He's done so well. I mean, Dan Burns at left back, for fuck's sake. Like, how are we coping? It's crazy.
It's mad how this is going on. I mean, you'd expect to want to keep Burn or someone there fresh for if we get an injury to Shah or Botman, but you've got 3 centre-backs playing as a left-back and 2 centre-backs. It's mental, the way they're playing. I always cringe when I see Burn playing on the left, thinking like he hasn't got the pace to be a left back. He hasn't got the pace to be on the wing. He has to stay in the middle, but he's just owning that spot. I just cannot get my head around it.
It's crazy. He always pops up when you least expect him to as well. Like, you sort of think there's no way he's catching this lad, but somehow he ends up the other side of him winning the ball. I mean, there was a few times in that Villa game where, he was up against Ollie Watkins and then obviously Leon Bailey when they switched sides. And somehow he was just stopping everything from getting in that box. I mean, there's a couple of times it went in and Sven Botman showing his quality and clearing it, and not one single shot on goal in that game from Villa. And it's so crazy. Sven Botman, I could rave about him for the rest of the video. I mean, the guy is a brick wall, absolute brick wall.
You can't get past him. His stats just say, his aerial tackles his aerial ability is just second to none. He completes every single challenge. He makes every single challenge. He's a beast. He moves. Just get rid of Van Dijk. Botman's now the best Dutch defender there is in the league.
Yeah, I would actually agree with that because the stats prove it. He's part of the best defence, least goals conceded. 5 clean sheets. He is proving himself to be that player. I mean, Van Dijk's not done that this season. Van Dijk's been quite a calamity actually for them. So yeah, it's actually pretty amazing what he's doing. I mean, for me, Fabian Schär doesn't get enough plaudits for the turnaround and the form that he has. Because, I mean, he was a forgotten player under Steve Bruce. Now, obviously, we know Steve Bruce doesn't exactly have the greatest acumen when it comes to spotting talent. But, yeah, from a man that looked accident-prone every time he was on the pitch, he's turned into a quality centre-back alongside Botman. And some of the passing as well was just... I feel like he's really underrated in that team.
I won't go as much as underrated. It was just being trained wrong. We knew there was a player there, and for only $3.5 million that we got him for. Oh, that's a hell of a bargain, now, considering what he can do. Oh
God, yeah. Well, there was rumours before he signed his new contract. Teams like Inter Milan were interested in him, and at that sort of stage, you're sort of thinking, why? Because he wasn't playing, and when he did, there was a mistake in him, and now he's sort of proved himself. And I've always liked Fabian Schär, not because he's a handsome git, but because there's always been something in there. That ability he has to pass and the shooting from long distance was always there. He just needed to, I don't know, stabilise himself in such a way that he's got a little bit more composure, and he seems to have done that, which is amazing.
What's even more amazing is that the goal against Burnley and the goal against Nottingham Forest were so identical.
Yeah, he is very good, and I know he's 31 now, so we might have maybe a year or two left of seeing him at this sort of level. But I'm going to enjoy every minute of it because he is, for me, one of the key players in that defence. And I know, obviously, people will sing the praises of Trippier and Botman and Bird, but yeah, Schär, I feel, out of the 4 defenders, he may not be the best of the 4, but he works his arse off, and he's earned his spot in that first 11. And just a very good player. Now, I'm not going to have to swallow a slice of humble pie about Sean Longstaff because he's been doing pretty decent for the team, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's doing okay, I suppose. But we've got Shelby coming back, though, so it won't be long until Longstaff's back on the bench.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've not been his biggest fan. I'm still not. I know he's getting a lot of plaudits from pundits and fans, but for me, he wants too long on the ball. When he tries turning with the ball, it's always just half a second too slow. Some of his passing, he seems to think he's John Joe Shelby with his passing sometimes. He tries to hit the long balls and it just goes to no one. We saw that against Villa. There was a couple of times where he tried to hit Hollywood passes and, no one's there.
No.
But you can't fault his work rate.
Oh no, you can't fault his work rate. He does put in a shift when he wants to. Against Villa, you saw those signs of how he used to be under Rafa, and if he can keep that up, then yeah, he can be that great again. I have the confidence that he can do it. I mean, we've started to see a huge difference now in Jacob Murphy, which has turned everyone's heads. So why not? The entire team could be good, apart from Chris Wood. The entire team could be amazing.
Yeah, no, and what's weird is that, but the performances on the pitch from players like you said, like Jacob Murphy, are so good compared to what they were last season. I mean, Murphy started this season quite poorly, but do you know what? Fair play to him. I've slated him a lot, but he's getting better. He's getting there, and you know I can't fault him for the way he's playing. He's done quite well in the absence of St Maximin. But for me, I don't know if I'd start him at Southampton with Jolinton missing, or whether I would prefer to bring in Ryan Fraser, because Murphy's obviously got a bit more physicality about him. He's a bit taller, he's a bit bigger. Fraser's quite small and not easy to knock off the ball, but when you look at some of the players at Southampton have in defence, it might be easier to have Murphy start. But yeah, it's I'm not too sure. What's your thoughts on that? Who would you replace Jolinton with?
If he's going on the wing, then I think you've got no choice but to bring in ASM.
Yeah. No, fair enough.
Yeah, but he had a bit of a run out for a few minutes against the Villa, but he's going to be desperate to get back on that pitch to show what he can do. Let him play against Southampton. If he isn't fully fit, then like I said last week with players, if they ain't fully fit, if you're going to start them, give them a half, give them about an hour, and then bring them off, or bring them on after an hour and give them half hour.
Yeah,
but yeah, with Joey out, it's a big miss, but replacement with ASM, it looked like nothing's happened.
Yeah, I have to say I'm not 100% sure if I'd go for ASM, purely off of the fact that we all know what he's like. He wants to take that ball himself and do everything himself. And at the moment, the way the team's playing, there's a unity there. And I feel if we throw St Maxi in there, it might disrupt that. You know, with Byrne as left back as well, that's going to leave him with a lot of issues down that left-hand side. So if ASM comes back in the team, I imagine, Cher might even not be playing in the next game, because obviously he went off with that little hamstring niggle against Villa. So maybe Byrne drops into central defence, Target comes in on the left, and St Maximin goes on the wing as well. That would probably be the way I would line up.
Yeah, you could possibly see that. It'd probably most likely be a late test on Fabi. If he does, then yeah, Byrne goes straight into the middle alongside Botman. We'll have Target back on the left, and I don't know. I think he done okay. Him and ASM had a decent link up, not as well as the link up between Trippier, because he knew how to set everybody up when getting back and being behind. We all know what Target's capable of doing, especially that goal against Leicester. The way him and Willock linked up together on the wing when Willock took it down the other end right at the end, where Bruno got the winner for us.
Oh, yes.
Who knows? Who knows what could happen?
This is it, mate. This is it. I mean, yeah, I'd keep an unchanged team personally, and I would probably put. See, I've said this on Twitter, and some people were with me, some were against me, but I'd actually start Elliot Anderson on the left. I feel like it's the perfect game for him to get a run out. He showed that he's got some talent, and to be honest, bringing a little bit of a surprise on Southampton, because they probably wouldn't have prepared for Anderson to be playing. He's got some trickery. He's got pace. I feel like he could do a good job there. And then second half, obviously, you can swap him for St Maxi just to get some more minutes in Maxi's legs. I feel like that could be a good way to go, to be honest.
I mean, that's a good shout. I mean, you're going to bring Anderson on, let him bamboozle that Southampton line, they're going to be wondering what the hell's going on. And then as soon as they see him come off, they'll be like, "Fine, right, that's better now. We're a bit tired. We can relax now." See Maxi come on. He'll use his speed to his advantage, knowing that their defense has tired out, so we can just blitz past them. Hopefully, put in some crosses instead of being selfish, and we can just capitalise on that and just get loads of goals again. We just can't stop scoring.
Definitely. I mean, I'm not 100% sure on if Eddie is going to use the same team, because obviously we've got Palace in the Cup during the week as well. So I know Willock's played I think he's played every game bar maybe one this season. So I'm not too sure if he'd maybe rest players knowing that there's a cup game coming, because obviously he wants to put a little cup run together. But if he does, who would he rest and who would he bring in? Which is the problem. You can't rest Miggy because he's on fire. Can't rest Callum because we haven't got another decent striker anywhere.
Oh, if he starts Wood against Palace.
I feel like that's the way he's going to go. I feel in the cup game, Chris Wood will probably start. You probably have Fraser and Murphy on the wings. With Shelby probably getting his first start of the season. Probably Willock as well. Maybe Jolinton, knowing that he's been rested. He's not played against Southampton, so he might play in that game as well. Obviously, you'd expect Jamal Lascelles to get game time. Trippier will probably stay in the team, as will potentially Botman or Byrne, and then Matty Target will probably play as well. So, I mean, the cup team would sort of picks itself, but it's whether he wants to rest any of the lads from the first team for the Southampton game for it. Obviously, he's not known for changing a winning team, Eddie, but who knows, mate? Who knows?
I think we might actually get a first glimpse to see how Karius would do if he was to start. Give Pope a rest for a game. Yeah,
I mean that could be a good shout. I mean, I feel like he needs to have a game to because there's an option for an extension of his contract with us. But how is he going to have the opportunity to prove that we should extend the contract if he's not getting game time? It's a bit unfair, isn't it? So yeah, maybe that's the perfect way to introduce him to the team and see what he can do, because he's a Champions League finalist. I mean, the guy's got some talent, so yeah, why not?
Exactly. Give him a chance. Give him the game. If he fucks up, then he fucks up. If he doesn't, then he could be potentially having that. He could fill that number 2 role instead of having Darlow that does have those mistakes in him. The only thing that annoys me with Darlow, he keeps punching. He doesn't collect.
Yeah, he's not great at that, to be honest. But yeah, so I mean, I was watching a podcast earlier from some Southampton fans on YouTube, just because I was doing some research for this, which I actually haven't used. That's neither here nor there. But they were talking about what they think the result is. Now, I'm pretty sure they were smoking something before they did the podcast, because one of them said they thought they'd win 1-0, and the other one said that they'd win 4-2. Now, for a team like us that hasn't conceded, best defence in the league, I don't see them putting 4 past us. I don't even see them putting 1 past us, to be honest. But it is at St Mary's, so I reckon we could do a nice 3-1 victory there. Maybe Che Adams popping up with a goal, or Ward-Prowse if he gets a free kick. But I see Almiron extending his goal-scoring run. I see Wilson scoring again, and potentially Bruno, because he scored against them last year. So I'd love to see him repeat that and score another. Maybe another little backheel flip would be beautiful.
Well, I was half expecting you to go for a draw, as you tend to go for them.
Not this time. No, Southampton is shy.
I'm going for yet another clean sheet. So I'm going to go for a 2-0. I think they're better than Villa. I'm going to go out and say that. I think they're better than Villa. They got the more togetherness, but 2-0. I'm going to say that. Miggy with the goal, obviously, he's going to go 7-7. Second one, I don't know, Bruno or Wilson. Just Wilson to pile that pressure on Harry Kane to say, look, I'm going to be the number 9 for England.
See, that's the last. So that leads us nicely onto the last thing I wanted to ask you. Obviously, Southgate was at the game, so was Tite, the Brazil manager, looking at Bruno. But I imagine Jolinton would have caught the eye, with a goal and a very solid performance. And obviously, Wilson and Dan Burn doing their best to ingratiate themselves to Southgate. 'Cause, I mean, they both had terrific games as well. So, what are your thoughts on their call-up chances?
Burn, I think, needs to be on the plane. Wilson needs to be on the plane. Trippier, I think he's guaranteed to be on that plane because there's no other right back better than him.
He has to be first choice. This with Reece James possibly just coming back from injury. Walker just coming back from injury. If Trippier's not first choice, there's something wrong there.
Exactly, and Trent's not had a best starts to his season.
Agreed.
Pope's got to be on the plane because there's no way Pickford could be in there. Wilson has to be on the plane because he's the better goal scorer and the better striker out of all of them at the minute. We've got so many English players in our team that deserve to be on that plane.
Yeah.
Will they be on the plane? No, you're going to have Harry Maguire on the bloody plane.
Well, this is it. I mean, I did hear somebody mention Sean Longstaff's name, but I sort of thought, that's not happening. That's not happening. But with Chilwell getting injured now, Ben Chilwell out of the World Cup, there's a position on that left side opened up. And the thing with Dan Burn, the fact that he can play left back and centre back, that's got to make it a bit of an easier choice for Gareth because he's a utility man. You can play him in 2 positions. Why wouldn't you take him? I mean, seriously, why wouldn't you take him? Because you've got Luke Shaw on the left, who's a bit dodgy sometimes. You've got Harry Maguire that can be dodgy. John Stones can be dodgy. Why don't you take someone that can play in 2 different positions? Because it'd be perfect for that 3 at the back system that Gareth likes to play with the 3 centre backs. You play Dan Burn on the left side of that. It'd work wonders.
Exactly. It's more the case of stop picking the exact same team each and every tournament. Go for some other players that deserve to be on that plane.
Agreed. I got you, mate. But yeah. So, what do you think about Jolinton's chances? I think that ship's probably sailed for him for this World Cup, but he's probably given the Brazil manager a bit of a headache after seeing it next. I mean, the competition's Fred, isn't it? Really, and with Jolinton being able to play centre mid, left wing, potentially up front if needs be, he's a good utility player to take as well.
I mean, there's a saying that says "never say never." And with Jolinton, I mean, you just look at every single Brazilian player. If you're Brazilian, you know you're going to be absolutely world class. So if he doesn't go, I would want to know why he isn't going to be picked because of the form that he has been on. He is an amazing player. I think he's collected the Player of the Year award as well for us.
Yes. Yeah, from the disabled fan group, they gave him the Player of the Year for that. Yeah, I saw that as well.
Call him up, let him have a friendly or something. See what he can actually do for the actual national team. If he performs well, then let him have the World Cup.
It amazes me that players like Richarlison and Fred still get in that Brazil team ahead of Jolinton when Jolinton's. I hesitate to say miles ahead of them, but with Fred, you can definitely say he's better than him. Statistics prove that. Richarlison gets just as many goals as Jolinton, and Jolinton plays in a central midfield position. So it makes no sense that he couldn't have the opportunity to be in that team. But who knows, mate? Who knows?
He deserves to be there. He needs to be there.
Yeah, agreed. So our final predictions for the scores. Obviously, I said 3-1. You've gone 2-0. Yep. So that'll be an interesting one. It's Sunday, isn't it? The kickoff, 2:00.
Yeah.
And obviously next week, Wednesday, we've got the cup game. I'm not sure if we'll be able to film before then. So do we want to do some quick predictions for that before we shoot?
Me against my dad again.
We've played them once this season. We should have won, but VAR fucked us over. I feel like it's ripe to take revenge now. I can't remember where the game is. Is it at Palace or is it a home game?
Let me just quickly look it up. That is.
Should have done my research, mate.
I've got a feeling it's at Selhurst.
I think it is as well. I don't know why, but I do think it's at Selhurst.
Oh, we are at home.
We're at home.
We're at home.
Oh, that's a win then. It's got to be a win. 2-0.
Yeah, I think I'll go 2-0 as well.
Yeah. I reckon your buddy Chris Wood might get on the score sheet.
Oh my god.
Well, come on, that's got to be beautiful. If you play in your dad's team, the player you think is the worst player on our team scores against him. Surely that adds a bit more to the bragging rights in that.
No, because I'll probably buy my Crystal Palace shirt with Chris Wood on the back of it.
Oh dear, but no, yeah. So I reckon this Crystal Palace game, we've got to win. We've got to want revenge after VAR messed us up in that game with them last time. So,
well, either way, that you ain't going to get no replays or that. It has to end even one way or the other in that one game.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. So I think I'd like to say maybe Shelvey getting on the score sheet. I could see if he starts that game, which I think he will. I reckon he could score. He's got a point to prove. He's probably pissed off that, he's not been able to start the season and play up till now because of, the way he was playing end of last season. If he had continued that form on, he could have been in with a shout for England. So, yeah, I think he's going to have a point to prove when he comes back. So I reckon Shelvey and I'm not going to say Chris Wood. I'm going to say Elliot Anderson. I reckon we'll get his first goal.
Wouldn't surprise me if he got his first goal. I mean, Longstaff got his first goal for us against Blackburn, I think, and when he came through and he started in the cup game. I think, depending on who starts, really, I'd like to see Botman get his first goal.
That would be nice. Him or Dan Burn getting a goal would be absolute amazing because they're both deserving of it.
And then I'd also like to see Michael Ndewene or Munoz be given a shot up top just to see how they play. Just anyone apart from Chris bloody Wood.
Trouble is with Munoz now is that I think I've seen that he's injured again, and we're not going to sign him permanently. I don't think. I read as well because in the 18 months that he's been with us, when it comes to to January, it'll be 18 months. He's barely played. He's been injured most of the time, and he's not impressed. So apparently, we're not going to take up the option to buy him. The poor lad. I feel sorry for him. We should have given him more of an opportunity, but now we've got money, mate. We can find our own English Santi Munoz.
It's a shame we haven't got Isaac.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that is. But like you said, Ndewene, I think, should be in with a shout. Or Westendorf. Westendorf's not done.
Or Stevenson.
Yeah, exactly. Dylan Stevenson as well come through. Luca De Boll, maybe. I'm not sure if he's out on loan, but these are players that we can be bringing through and should be bringing through to have the opportunity.
No, exactly. We've got the youngsters. Why not give them a chance?
Which, like I said, start of the season, I would have kept Kel Watts at the club because I feel like he could. He was first choice for Wigan last season. He was there and he was first choice centre back, and he was solid. And I feel like he could have contributed something to the team. I know he got injured quite early into pre-season, which was quite sad for the lad, and then he got loaned out. But yeah, I feel like he could contribute something. But who knows? Eddie's done well with us so far. I know our last cup game was against Tranmere, but we've got this. At the moment, it's defying all expectations with what he's doing. But I do think, I don't see us losing any of the games that we've got left this season. So it's nice not having that fear going into games.
Oh yeah, it's great to know that you can go into every single game and think I'm going to win that.
100%, mate. I'm there with you on that. So on that note, buddy, hopefully 2 wins in a week coming, and I'll probably see you this time next week again, mate.
Yeah, no worries.
All right, buddy. You take it easy. Have a good weekend.
No worries. You too.
Take it easy.
Yeah, cheers.
Bye.